glad you could make it. Can I get you a drink?
Yeah, something soft. I'm driving. Parking's an absolute nightmare around here, isn't it? Had to reverse into the tiniest of spaces. Still, I managed it. I mean, parking's not exactly brain surgery, is it? And I should know.
Why is that? Are you a doctor?
Careful. Not a doctor. I'm a brain surgeon. Big difference. Big difference. Yeah, I actually know a joke about this. What's the difference between a doctor and a brain surgeon? One's not exactly brain surgery. The other is brain surgery. So, what do you guys do?
I'm an accountant.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I could do with an accountant. Filling in those tax forms can get really confusing, can't it? Still, it's not exactly brain surgery, is it? I mean, brain surgery, believe me, is very complex. Are you an accountant too?
No, I work for a charity.
Oh, that's a very selfless job, isn't it? I really admire you. I don't think I could ever do what you do. I say that because it's emotionally draining, not because it's hard. I mean, it's not exactly brain surgery, is it? Which, as a brain surgeon, is what I do.
Lionel, here's your drink. Lionel's a brain surgeon, you know.
Yeah, he mentioned it.
Oh, Jeff, they keep you late at the Space Centre.
As always.
And this food round. Have you met Lionel?
No, hello, Lionel.
So, Jeff, how do you earn a crust?
I'm a scientist. I work mainly with rockets. It's pretty tough work. What do you do?
Why, I don't mean to boast, but I'm a brain surgeon.
Brain surgery? Not exactly rocket science, is it?
I've always loved that one. Because you see it coming on us. Not exactly rocket science, is it? Okay, well, good morning, everyone. If you can hear me and see me okay, would you mind just putting in a thumbs up or a we're all good, or just some kind of acknowledgement in the chat roll, which I'm keeping my eye on. And then I know that everyone can hear me and we can then proceed. Yeah, so good morning to you all. Okay, great. Thanks, Lindsay. You were first off. So as you will learn on this webinar software, when I ask a question, there's always about a 10-second delay between my asking the question and my getting the responses in the chat roll. So I've sometimes got to waffle a bit. Okay, if this is your first time doing a webinar with me, you are very, very welcome. My name is Steve Johnstone. I've been a real estate trainer for 20 years or so, and I've worked with tens of thousands of agents. And I'm going to take you on an amazing 8 weeks together. I trust it's going to be, all told, once we're finished, an incredibly empowering experience for you. And I have put an enormous amount of work into putting the curriculum together. So I'm really excited about it. I want to thank you for your trust in me and joining me for this time, and for your willingness to learn, for your openness to go on a new journey and learn some new skills. And I trust it'll pay off for your business. If you have never done a webinar like this before using this software, if you get kicked out or it freezes or something, most of the time, the error is not on my side, it's on your side, like your internet has dropped or something. If just hang around, and if you don't get brought back into the room within sort of 10 seconds or so, then there should be a panic button or some kind of reconnect button on your screen. It's in the middle at the top or the bottom or something. Just click that reconnect button. What it'll do is it'll log you out and then it'll log you back in, and that normally solves the problem. So, yeah, and just as I'm looking through the chat roll, every now and again I get a chance to look at the chat roll, and I'm seeing lots of very familiar names and faces, both new and old. Some of you guys were clients of mine 20 years ago. Yvette van der Westhuizen. Morning, Yvette. Nice to see you. Yeah, so many of us have gone on a long journey together. So it's one of the most rewarding things for me in my business is building the relationships that I have with the agents who've really stuck around and who are professional in the market. So I kind of feel like I'm amongst friends this morning. And let's get into today's session. So I'm going to start off this morning a little bit just by sort of casting your vision for the next 8 weeks, what we're going to be doing for the next 8 weeks, talk about some of the documents I'd like you to have with you, and then we'll get into the actual business analysis questionnaire that we're going to be doing today. Okay, so I also wanted to say to all of you guys around the country who have experienced varying degrees of pressure and stress and trauma over the last week or so in our nation, God bless you. We have been praying for you, and we'll continue to do so, and trust that we will come through this as a nation. I've actually just had a very strong sense that although like the trauma is terrible, the people who've lost their lives, people who have lost their businesses, and people who've lived in fear, while we would not want to repeat any of that, obviously, I almost feel like these were necessary birth pains for a new South Africa. A lot of the images coming through now of communities pulling together, black, white, and every race in between, coming together, loving each other, supporting each other, cleaning up their cities together, rebuilding together. It's almost like we needed to get rid of some of the rot in the nation, and so that we can move on. So that's my faith for a positive future. I trust that you do have, but just know that our hearts are with you if you've been going through that in a particularly raw and real way yourself. Okay, so this was to remind myself. I promised you some free value items if you pitched up today. So what I am going to do is I am going to now try, using a very clever button on my webinar software, I'm going to try to open a second tab in your browser. It won't kick you out of the webinar. It'll open a second tab, and that tab will have a 100% discounted link page on it where you can go and register for this 5,000 Rand product of newsletter items absolutely for free. It's a gift from me to you. Thanks for joining me today. You might have at the top of your browser some kind of warning now, like this website is trying to open another tab. Should you allow it? You're going to need to click allow so that I can open the other tab. What I will do in the chat roll here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it right at the top as a sticky message. I'm going to put the link at the top of the chat roll. In case I didn't open that tab, you can always use the link in the top of the chat roll to get access to those free value items. Can I ask you guys, because I know that like probably 100 of you are already doing this, don't go and register now. Just leave that tab open. Okay, it'll stay there. It's not going anywhere. Rather focus on this webinar while we're together, and then you can go and register for those when the webinar is finished. Okay, so that's my promise to you fulfilled. Okay, the 4 sessions. What are we going to be doing together? A whole bunch of awesome stuff. That's what we're going to be doing together. My goal for all 4 sessions, so the 8 weeks, what is my goal? Okay, very simple. I want to leave you with a simple blueprint. Why simple? Because it's not exactly rocket science. Okay, I want to leave you with a simple blueprint for success. Why a simple blueprint? Because I fear that there are many, many, many agents out there who would love to do better in their business, but actually, when push comes to shove, they don't actually know what to do. They just don't know what the roadmap is to get them from where they are now to be earning R1 million a year or 2 million Rand a year or whatever your goal is. So I want to give you a simple blueprint. Now, we're going to have to go on a little bit of a winding journey to get you to the simple blueprint, because you can't just give someone, say, okay, here, do these 5 things each day, because that never works. You have to own the solution. You've got to buy into it. Now, in order to buy into it, I have to motivate for it. I have to explain the dynamics of why we do these things. And that's what a lot of what we're going to be doing over the 8 weeks does, so that at the end of the day, I can leave you with just a very simple little blueprint for success in your real estate business. So don't get overwhelmed by anything or any of the complexity. Just trust me as I take you on this journey over the 8 weeks, so that at the end of the day, you're going to come up with something that you understand, that you can commit to. That's my goal. All right, so session number 1, that's today, is about knowing your numbers. So we are going to be working through this document together. Now, there were a couple of you that actually, man, you were way ahead of the class. You guys were the guys at school that always had your homework done before the actual due date. I wasn't one of those. But anyway, we're going to be doing this document together. So I think 3 or 4 of you actually emailed me your completed document. So thank you. You guys can rest today. Enjoy your success. But for the rest of us, we're going to go through this today. And we're not going to be able to finish it today. There's no way. It's going to take you longer than the sort of 20, 25, 30 minutes that we'll give to it today. You're going to have to go and complete it after today. But this is a very important session. Okay? It's going to be slightly harder work than the other 3 sessions, because for a lot of it, you're going to be working through this document now, and you're going to be putting in your numbers where you can. And I mean, no one really loves like business analysis. Okay, it's not exciting, but it's important. Just trust me. For now, it's important. So just get gird up the loins of your mind, is a phrase that comes to mind for today. Just like settle down, take a deep breath, and let's get through today, because it's important, knowing your numbers. Okay, then next session, that's in 2 weeks' time, 4th of August, mindset and fundamental beliefs. So this is not just about mindset issues like positivity and enthusiasm. Now, all of those are important. We are going to talk about some of that stuff, but it's also about your understanding of real estate. How does selling real estate work? How do successful agents become successful? There are some basic understandings of the dynamics of success that I want to open to. I want to shine a spotlight onto them. That's going to be a really, really good session. Then on Tuesday, the 10th of August at 4 p.m. Okay, this is a break in the normal routine, okay, because our webinars are every 2 weeks. So as you're going to see, 4th of August, that's a Wednesday. All of our sessions are on a Wednesday, but the bonus session takes place in that interim week, the next week after the second session, and it's on a Tuesday, and it's at 4 p.m. Just notice the stuff that's in yellow there. That's the differences. Okay, so it's Tuesday, the 10th of August, 4 p.m. That is our special session with Brent Gove. Who is Brent? Brent is one of my partners in business. So as you probably know, I am an EXP agent. I'm a registered agent with EXP South Africa, and Brent is one of my senior partners. He was the 11th highest selling RE/MAX agent in the world. Now, if that doesn't impress you, nothing will, okay? You don't become the 11th selling highest RE/MAX agent in the world by being an idiot, okay? He then moved to Keller Williams in 2008. He built one of the largest Keller Williams franchises in America. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, someone showed him the EXP model, and he knew he had to go. So he moved to EXP about 5 years ago. And today, he's got one of the biggest EXP businesses in the world. He's got over 15,000 agents in his revenue share team. So that's a pretty significant business, 15,000 agents. So what I did was I asked Brent if he would do a training session for us on this topic, how to attract more well-priced sole mandates. Do not miss this for the world. Okay, Tuesday, the 10th of August, 4 p.m. Please put it in your diary. How do you get into it? It's the same link that you clicked today. We're going to use the same webinar software. It's just going to be Brent talking to you instead of me. Okay, so that's the bonus session. Then session 3, 18th of August. This is back to Wednesdays now at 9 a.m. We're going to do our lead generation session. This is obviously absolutely crucially important. In fact, of all the sessions, this is probably going to be the most important one, because as I'm going to say to you in session 2, that the most important thing you do in your business is to generate leads. And this is the biggest mistake estate agents make, is they do not have a lead generating discipline that they are consistent with day in, day out. And a lot of it is going to come down to being on the phone. Okay, let me tell you who wins in real estate. The person who makes the most contact, who has the most conversations with the most property owners and influential people in their area. That is who wins in real estate. It's about relationships. It's about conversations. Now, I'm going to teach you who to have those conversations with, what you say on the phone, because I'm going to teach you some cold calling scripts. I'm going to teach you how to build a referral base so that it's warm leads, how to have advocates, how to have a consistent email campaign that goes out to a larger group of people, that is maintaining your contact with these people. There is a system I'm going to teach you, a blueprint for lead generation. And from then on, it's not exactly rocket science. You're going to be able to just follow the roadmap, but it's going to take discipline and consistency. Then our fourth session is building your personal brand. Building your personal brand. So this is about supplementing your lead generation efforts, which is all personal, okay, with a digital strategy that sits behind that builds your prominence. It makes you visible, okay? And there are wonderful ways to do that using landing pages, social media, bulk email, and other tools, which I'm going to teach you in that fourth session. Okay, how to have drip campaigns. Anyway, let me not get into it now. That's session 4. Okay, so guys, lead generation session, will it be Poppy? Yes, of course we're going to take Poppy into consideration. Of course. Okay, so today, some documents to print. The first one I asked you guys to print, and let me share this file on the screen. Okay. There should be a file that I'm busy sharing. You can click it. If you did not download this and print this, please download the file now while I'm talking and print it. Okay, the first one is this. It's the daily, weekly, monthly goals worksheet. Now, why is this an important document? Okay, this is what it basically looks like. It gives you 3 pages. One is daily activity goals. Then there's one for weekly activity goals. And there's one for monthly activity goals. All 3 of them are blank. Okay, why blank? Because this is going to be your working document for the 4 sessions. And have it with you in Brent's session as well. You, as you get inspired, are going to fill in things that you suddenly realize you need to be doing on a daily basis. Stuff that needs to happen on a weekly basis, stuff that needs to happen on a monthly basis. Because here's the magic. As the lights come on for you during this 8 sessions, you're going to get inspired. You're going to have insights for your business, and you then get to put them down on this document so that at the end of the 8 weeks, you've got one document that has collated all of what you've learned into activity-based goals. Now, why are activity-based goals important? Well, goal-setting exercises, of which there are many, are only as good as the action plans that come out of them. It's no point my setting a goal to say, I am going to set a goal to weigh 78 kilograms, which is what I should weigh, and I don't. Okay, I've got this goal. I put it up on my bathroom wall. I stick it up on my office. I put it on my board at the back here in big red letters. I want to weigh 78 kilos. That is not going to do any good unless that transitions into a strategy. How am I going to do it? Okay. So goals generally come in 2 forms. They come in outcomes-based goals. I want to weigh 78 kilos, and activity goals. Okay, another way of putting that is to call these the outputs desired. I've got a sausage machine. My sausage machine must spit out sausages, the outputs that we desire, but there are certain inputs that are required in order to get those outputs. Okay, so for example, in the real estate business, the number of transactions I close per month. How many deals do you want to do per month? That is an outcome goal. It's a desired output of your sausage machine. Okay? And there are certain disciplines now that need to happen. So the number of phone calls to advocates per day. Now, that is an activity goal that will, if you keep it up with it, it's going to produce leads that produce mandate presentations, that produce sole mandates, that produce offers to purchase, that produce deals. The input is the phone calls. Okay, now that's the activity-based goal. So activity goals, in my view, and you're not going to hear this in a lot of goal-setting stuff. This is just my opinion. Activity goals are far more powerful and far more important than the outcomes goals, because as long as the activity goals are being correctly set and you're being disciplined with the activities, the outcomes will take care of themselves. You will automatically get the outcomes if you're doing the activities consistently, okay, without ever having to even focus on the outcomes. So if I put a good eating plan and exercise plan in place, and I am disciplined with it, and that's what I focus on, that's what I write on my board, the daily exercise and my eating plan, and I'm just focused on that, I'm going to get down to 78 kilos. I don't even have to think about the 78 kilos. So in my view, it would be better to have an intelligent daily, weekly, and monthly action plan, activities that I know I can control, without a clear understanding of where I want to be in 3 years or 5 years in my business. I'd rather have that than someone who's very clear on what they want in 5 years, but they have no practical actions to focus on daily, weekly, monthly. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Let me just check my. So yeah, I'm back in the chat roll. Just tell me if you're tracking with me. Does this make sense to you? Because now this addresses why I have created this document for you. Okay, great. I'm seeing lots of yeses. Who can put an emoji in the chat roll? Can you figure it out? Something like this. Something like that. Oh, it's happening so fast. You even missed my emoji. It's in there if you go scroll down. Okay, cool, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing all of the answers. Thank you so much. Okay. Why is this important? Because this document is designed so that at the end of the 8 weeks, you come out with the activity goals that will give you what you want, where you want to go. Okay, so this is the most powerful document of the whole series, because this is where you are going to make your commitments. So what you're going to do is, as you are learning over the 8 weeks, you're going to have these light bulb moments, the surge of enthusiasm and clarity about something you need to be doing. You have a pen on hand and you fill it in. If it's a daily goal, you put it in. If it's a weekly goal, let's say you're going to do something 3 times a week, you put it in the weekly goals. And then, obviously, at the end of the series, when you've got these 3 pages that are now filled in, you are going to then take those activities and program them into your CRM system or your diary or your to-do list or your task software, whatever you use as your planner. And by the way, guys, you do need some kind of tracking or planning system, some kind of to-do list that every day you know what you need to do. Now, I use a combination of the task software, the to-do list on my Mac, and my calendar, my diary, which I don't have a paper diary, and I don't think you should either. I use the calendar on my Mac, and it synchronizes with my phone. So if I put an appointment in, I see it both on my phone and on my computer. And what you can do on a diary on your computer is you can program recurring appointments. So let's say I come out with one of my weekly goals is 3 times a week, I am going to time block 2 to 3 hours, let's say 2 hours out of 3 days of the week, in order to make phone calls. Now, that's something, you have a light bulb moment, it goes on your sheet. What do you do? Well, at the end of the 8 weeks, you're going to go to your diary, you're going to choose the 3 days. Let's say it's a Monday and a Thursday between 8 and 10, and on a Wednesday, you're going to do it between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. You go and enter that as a recurring diary appointment in your calendar so that you're never going to book appointments over that, and your diary will automatically just put it in every Wednesday between 4 and 6 so that you don't have to think about it from that point onwards. Okay, so that's the process. I hope you understand how these pages are going to work. Okay, the next thing I wanted you to print out, and some of you have already started doing this, which is great, is this document. Okay, it is a 12-page business analysis questionnaire, and we're going to work through that. We'll probably get about 15 or 20 minutes where I'm going to be able to just talk you through it, and you can fill in numbers as we go, but we're not going to be able to finish this today. You are going to have to go and finish this later today. I suggest you do it within the next few days while it's still fresh in your mind, okay? But this is the next thing, and this is just for today's session. And from this, you are then going to set activity-based goals, okay? I'm going to explain that in a second. So, why should you know your numbers? That's what this document is all about, knowing the numbers of your business. And the temptation, of course, was for me to get onto this webinar, the first one, and do something tremendously motivational and talk about success and talk about the beliefs of like high-producing agents and not start with this, which is quite a mundane, quite a laborious task. Why am I doing this with you? Okay, that's the question we're asking here. Why know your numbers in your business? Can I just tell you flat, straight, man to man, man to woman, I'm going to be honest with you. If you've got dreams of becoming a millionaire as an estate agent and you're not interested in knowing your numbers, you're smoking your socks. It's not easy becoming a millionaire. If it was, everybody would do it. And if you're going to do this as a real estate agent, you have to treat your business like a business. And what do business people do? They know their numbers. They know what they've got to do in order to produce their results. And that's not sucked out of their thumb. It comes from understanding the dynamics of their business. So this is the first reason why it is important for you to go through this process. And I'm going to suggest to you that you do it twice a year for the rest of your career. Keep this document and print it out every 6 months and do it again. Because what you're going to do then is you're going to start building up a library of data on your business so that you will, over a period of time, you will not only be able to see how many listing presentations, for example, do I need to do in order to get one sole mandate. That's an important number. How many phone calls do I need to make in order to get one seller lead? You know, when you've only done this once, you're kind of sucking it out your thumb. If you've done this for 5 years, every 6 months, you're going to start building up a library of data so that you know exactly what your numbers are. Because then, guys, you understand what's happening here. Then you know, at the end of the day, if you've been doing this, if I want to make 1.5 million rand net in a 12-month period, okay, let's say that's your goal. I know, because of all of my conversion rates and my numbers, I know exactly how many phone calls I need to be making each day. And now you can forget about the 1.5 million rand, you just make the phone calls. And the rest of the numbers will unfold from there. That is so powerful. Okay, so the point on your screen says the most important reason to know your numbers is to get a grip on how your business works. And my fear is that a lot of estate agents don't understand how their business works. They don't understand the dynamics and the conversion rates that are happening here. Okay, secondly, it helps you know what the activities are, okay, back to our activity-based goals discussion, that drive the rest of your business so that you can set activity-based goals accordingly. This document, my friends, is going to allow you to do what I was talking about earlier, because you're going to know your numbers, so you can then you can set intelligent activity-based goals. Okay. Spoiler alert. You are going to have some homework that comes out of today. Not only are you going to have to go and complete filling this in for yourself, but coming from what you learn from this, I am going to teach you how then, I'm going to set you a goal, to set goals for the future on each of the relevant numbers that I'm getting you to track from the past. So you're going to actually use this over the next 2 weeks to set a bunch of goals for yourself. Now, not all of them are going to be activity goals. Some of them are going to be outcomes goals, how much money you want to make, how many deals you want to do, and all of that. But first, you run your numbers from the past. Based on that, you're going to learn some things. Then I'm going to get you to set goals on each of these areas for the future. Okay, so I'm just letting you know in advance, you're going to have some work to do over the next 2 weeks. But hey, it's hard work getting rich. Don't feel bad about it. Then, number 3, why know your numbers? Well, it grounds your expectations of the future. Okay, what do I mean by that? It means it stops you from smoking your socks. When you understand how your business functions and you suddenly realize, man, in order to make 1.5 million rand a year, I need X number of sole mandates per year, which means X number per month. In order to get that, I need to do X number of listing presentations per month, X number per week. And in order to do that, I need to make X number of phone calls per week. And I suddenly realized, you know what? If I want to make 1.5 million rand, it means making 60 or 80 phone calls a week, whatever the numbers turn out to be for you. And I know me. I'm not going to do that. It stops you from having this Pollyanna view of this wonderful future you're going to have. And it grounds it so that you can be realistic about what you're going to expect from the future. And by the way, one of the indispensable things that have got to happen to you if you're going to genuinely make it big is you've got to get realistic about what it takes to be successful. So it grounds your expectations. And then number 4, if done regularly, I'm going to recommend you do this twice a year, it helps you stay on track with your goals. And it helps you to be accountable. And that's particularly true if you're going to be working with someone. If you get another agent, you guys want to hold each other accountable, or you employ the services of a coach. This is indispensable for having intelligent conversations when you are accountable to someone for your business. Okay, so that's why you need to know your numbers. Let's get into it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing the other document. And I'm going to share this one now. Okay, so if you have not printed out this document yet, please download the one I've now shared. Quickly print it because we're going to start going through it. And as we go through it, you're going to be filling in whatever numbers you can as we go through it quite quickly. Whatever you miss, that's going to be part of your homework to finish this document. All right, so we've got half an hour. That's great. That's what I kind of budgeted on. We've got the second half of the webinar to go through this document together. Okay, one point I need to make before we get into it, and that is this. If you are going to want a one-on-one coaching slot with me, now when am I going to open those? After the 4th session. So after the 8 weeks in September and October, I'm going to give you my Calendly link. That's how you can book an appointment in my diary with me. If you want a one-on-one coaching session, you're welcome. I'm happy to do it with you. And I won't charge you for that. But if you want the one-on-one coaching session, this document has to be completely filled in and emailed to me. Okay, it's confidential. I'm not going to share it with anyone. Don't worry about that. But I can't coach you unless I've got your numbers and I know what your goals are. So you're going to email this to me together with the goals that you set based on what we do today. Okay, and I will, as I say, I'm going to open that up to you at the end of the 8 weeks if you want to book a one-on-one with me. Okay, so now you should have a pen in your hand. You should have this document with you, and you should be opened up on page number 1, which is the page on your screen. And let's start going through it together. I'm just going to waffle my way through the document. And if you know the numbers, write them in as we go. If you don't, leave it blank. You're going to have to come back to it afterwards. There's a lot of stuff you're not going to be able to fill in off the top of your head, but maybe you have collated some information, which I did ask you to do, and you've got it around you. Okay, so number 1. Sorry, this is in 4 parts, this questionnaire. part number one is your transactional and financial numbers. Okay, question number one. The number of lead generation phone calls that you have made in the past 30 days, and all of these are going to be past 30 days and then the past 12 months. Okay, now, what is a lead generation phone call? So this is not a phone call to an existing client on an existing matter. These are phone calls you don't have to make. These are phone calls that you make with the idea of building strong relationships with people in your area and potentially getting a referral from them, or speaking to someone who might be thinking of doing a deal, thinking of putting their home on the market, for example, soon. So it's to generate leads and to build relationships, which is also part of generating leads. Okay, so you get what these are. How many of these unessential, although they are essential, phone calls have you made in the last 30 days, in the last 12 months? So it's going to be to your advocates. If you don't know what an advocate is, I'm going to teach you in our lead generation session. You need to have 100 advocates that you're building strong relationships with. You get your referrals from them. Other contacts, so your B list that sits behind your advocates. You're going to have a big B list of thousands of homeowners potentially in your area. That's what you're aiming for. A massive B list of homeowners in your area. And how do you communicate with your B list? They are going to get, as you're going to see in our third session, they're going to get an email from you either once a week or once every 2 weeks. You can decide on the regularity. Okay? Brian Super, does WhatsApp count? Yes, we'll get into that on the lead generation thing. Right now, for this question, sorry, Brian, how many phone calls have you made? No, WhatsApp do not count. We are talking about a person-to-person conversation that you've had with people. Okay, WhatsApp does not count. We're talking about personal contact. All right, question number 2. How many seller leads did you generate in the past 30 days and in the last 12 months? Question number 3, how many seller appointments did you then do? Now, how many listing presentations did you do in the last 3 days and the last 12 months? Question number 4, how many listings did you secure? Okay, now that could be an open mandate, it could be a sole mandate. I just want to know, how many listings did you get in the last 30 days or the last 12 months? Then, number 5, now we're going to drill down further, how many of those were sole mandates? So how many sole mandates did you get in the last 30 days and in the last 12 months? From those sole mandates, how many OTPs did you present to the seller, offers to purchase? So how many offers did you present in the last 30 days and 12 months? Question 7, how many of those were accepted? So how many transactions did you close last 30 days, last 12 months? Question 8, what is the average commission that you are charging when you were the seller's agent per transaction? That's an interesting stat for you to look at. I mean, are you actually negotiating down to like 4.5% every single time? Or are you averaging it like 5 or 6 or 7%? Go and run the numbers. 9, what's your average selling price? That's a very important number because we can't work out how many deals you need to do in order to hit your goal income unless we know what your average selling price is. No, offers on sole and open mandates, Shannon. Yeah, any offer that you presented. So average commission, average selling price. Number 10, total gross commission before splits. Okay, so this is before splits. I don't mean to another agent. Let's say you shared a transaction with the other agent after the split that you paid them, but I'm saying before the split with your principal. Let's say you're on a 60-40 split. Before you've paid the 40, what was your gross commission on your side of the sale? If you did both sides, obviously the gross commission. What percentage of your deals did you share with another agent? And obviously the other percentage is you sell your own mandate. So you do both the seller and the buyer side. So what percentage are you sharing with another agent? What was the total amount in rand value that you paid to your company on their split? Let's say the 40% that you pay them on your deals. How much did you pay them in the last 30 days? And how much did you pay them in the last 12 months? Sometimes that's a shocking amount of money. With respect to the principals out there. Okay, question 13. I think on my sheet, yeah, there's a little typo which I'm going to get you to correct. Question 13, what is your total net commission paid to you after the splits with your company, but before tax? If they take tax off, because a lot of you do actually pay PAYE, they pay you net of tax, then you can put the net figure in there. What were you paid out in the last 12 months? Okay, how much tax did you pay on that? You should know how much tax you pay on your income. If you don't know, just take 25% as an average, as an estimate. Question 15, what were your total business expenses in the last 12 months? Okay, obviously, you're not going to be able to fill that in now unless you've done your homework. How do you do this? You're going to go through your bank statements for the past 12 months, and everything that is a business expense that you are allowed to claim off your income as a tax deduction, okay, when you do your tax return. I want it in there. You add them all up from 12 months, go through all your bank statements, come out with a number. This is so important, guys. You need to know what your annual expenses are in your business. And then lastly, what was your total take-home profit for the past 12 months? Now, that is question, and here's the typo. It's question 13 minus question 14 minus question 15. So in other words, it's your total commission paid to you after splits with other agents, minus the tax you paid, minus your business expenses. That's your take-home profit for the year. Okay, you got it. Uhuru, what are you allowed to claim? Anything that is a legitimate business expense, anything that you incur in the production of income, you're allowed to claim off your income as a tax deduction. Okay, so question 16 is, how much money did you make at the end of the day after tax and everything else? That's obviously why we're in business, isn't it? So the next question below that says, sorry, that's the next page, says this: what number would you like to have for question 16, not 15, that's another typo. What question would you like to have for question 16 above in the next 12 months? Okay, how much money would you like to take home after tax and everything else in the next 12 months? Now that you can surely answer now. Please write a number in there for yourself. Okay, Jeff, I don't have time to answer specific questions in the chat roll, but you're going to just use your intelligence and work around whatever obstacles that you find. These are things I can work with you through on your one-on-one coaching session if you book it. Okay, then below that, I've put in some examples now of why these are important. Like, let's just take the power of these numbers and illustrate it with a few of these questions. So based on your answers above, on average, once you've filled in the numbers, I want you to go and answer these questions. How many phone calls do you need to make to generate one seller lead? That is such a powerful number to know. And you can know it just by analyzing your numbers, by tracking the number of phone calls you make. If you haven't been tracking, fine. Turn over a new leaf and start today. Start tracking all these things. How many phone calls do you need to make to get one seller lead? How many seller leads do you need to generate to book one listing presentation? How many listing presentations do you need to do to secure one sole mandate? How many sole mandates do you need to make one sale? How many sales do you need to earn your goal income? Okay, now, just stay with me, guys. If it's getting just hang in there, okay? Now, here's a powerful concept. I want you to take the first question and we're going to bump it all the way down to the bottom question because this is so powerful. How many phone calls do you need to make in order to earn your goal income? Do you understand how powerful that is? Because now you've got your goal income pegged to an activity-based goal that you have 100% control over. Do you understand? That removes the mystery from success. Very powerful, guys. Okay, next. So this is now section 2 of the questionnaire, lead generation. And again, if you don't know these, if you can't answer these questions, you're going to need to start tracking all this stuff. So, yes or no, do you have a dynamic, that means constantly being updated, it's up to date, list of property owners in your area who are ready to make a move in the next 90 days? Okay, guys, this document I'm talking about now, I've got an Excel spreadsheet that you can use as a template. I'm going to share it with you in another webinar. This, we're going to call it your hot list. It is, other than your goals sheets, okay, this is the most important document in your entire business. And you are going to go through this document every single day. You're going to update it. And this is what's going to dictate your lead follow-up. Because every single person on your hot list, you're going to have notes on when you need to contact them again. In a week's time, I said I would phone them again. Okay, and what you're going to find is, I'll give you what the statistics, the research tells us. You need X number of people on your hot list. Property owners in your area that you know are thinking of making a move in the next 90 days. Okay, you need X number of people on that hot list in order to close 2 deals a week or 1 deal a week, or that'll be 4 deals a month. We know the numbers. That's also very powerful. So my question to you now simply is this: do you have a hot list? If you do have a hot list, how many people are on that list? Put the number. If you don't, just be honest and tick no. Okay, do you currently have a database of people that you keep in touch with? Yes or no? If yes, I want you to describe your current communication strategy. How do you keep in touch with this group of people? Are there different groups within the group? Do you have an advocate list and a B list? Do you keep in touch differently with the advocates than you do with the B list? Okay, so talk to me about your database. Okay, then do you currently have a regular cold calling strategy? Yes or no? If you do, please describe it. Okay, put a little description of your cold calling strategy in the section below. I look forward to reading that. One of the things that's going to surprise you if you have been if you've been one of my clients for many years is that I have warmed over the years to the idea of cold calling. I think cold calling should definitely play a part in your lead generation strategy. Geez, I would have stoned me 15 years ago for saying that, but I've come to understand the importance of it. Okay, how many referrals have you received in the past month and in the past 12 months? How many referrals? Ilza, do I understand this correct as being your sellers that you have on your list? Nope, that's not correct. Right, your advocate list is bigger than your sellers. That's not for today. We're going to cover that in our lead generation session. Okay, next page. What I want you to do on this page is make a list of every seller that you've got a mandate from over the last 12 months. Okay, it can be an open mandate. It can be a sole mandate. Doesn't matter. I want you to put the list of all your sellers next to their name. I want you to write down where you got the seller lead from. So what we're trying to do with this and the next page, okay, I've given you enough space if you've done lots of mandates. What we're trying to do here is assess where you are getting most of your seller leads from. Okay, so based on what you are writing there, so examples would be a repeat client. So this is a past client, repeat business, referral, a call, from a call in from a sign, a seller walked into one of my show houses and then phoned me, an online lead. Okay, those are examples. Okay, at the end, you then answer the question at the bottom. Based on the list above, what was your most fruitful source of seller leads in the past 12 months? That's sometimes eye-opening. Okay, then we're going to do the same exercise for all your buyers that you represented in a transaction. Where did you find the buyers from? Was it from P24 or private property, or was it a referral? Was it from a cold call? Okay, and then you're going to do the same at the bottom of page 7. Based on the above, what was your most fruitful source of buyer leads in the past 12 months? And that is also sometimes eye-opening. You know, this particular exercise can help you put your marketing spend, you've got X amount of budget for marketing, to put it into the right areas, the most fruitful areas for you. Okay, then part 3 of our little questionnaire is about your career situation. This is getting into now your experience of business, your position, where you are, the company you're with, how you feel about your career as it's going. Okay, these are very important questions, and this is part of what I want you to fill in if you're going to do a one-on-one coaching slot with me, because this is important for you. So question number 1, rate your current company on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, 1 would be, my company needs major change. There are major problems with the company I'm with. And 10 being, this is the ideal business. I love my company. I wouldn't change a thing about it. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can do that now. Just put a number. What would you have to change, or not you, but what would have to change to make it a 10? Maybe you've never thought about that. It's a good question. Then your 3-year business goal. Okay, let's wind the clock forward 3 years. Where do you want to be? I want you to describe where you are in 3 years in your business. And I don't care what you put there. That can be who you're working for, whether you've got your own business, how much money you're making, how many leads you generate. I don't care how you describe it. Just in your words, where do you want to be in 3 years' time as far as your career is concerned? Okay. Next question. What are the top 3 things that you are going to need to reach that goal in 3 years' time? That's also an interesting question. Okay, because the next question then feeds off it. Are those 3 things that you're going to need to achieve that goal? Maybe it's certain training, maybe it's whatever, maybe it's certain software you're going to need, maybe it's a database that you're going to need, maybe whatever. Are those 3 things provided for you, or at least accessible at your current company or in your current situation? And obviously what I'm trying to get you to think through is where I am right now in my career, the company I'm with, the situation I'm in. Maybe, if I'm honest, I'm in the wrong place. I cannot get to where I want to be in 3 years' time in the current place that I'm at. I mean, wouldn't you like to know that if that was the truth? Select, then at the bottom, select which of the following best describes your biggest obstacle. Now, what is going to stop you from getting where you want to be in 3 years' time? And you've got to choose one of the 2. Either, is it a lack of knowledge? So you would say, I don't actually know what to do to get what I want in 3 years' time. Or is it a lack of time? So you would say to me, no, Stephen, I know what to do. I'm clear on the strategy. I just can never find the time to do it. Okay, you got to pick one of those. Then I'd like to know, on average, not that I would like to know. I think this is important for you to at least know for yourself. How many hours per week do you currently work on average? How many hours per week? So if you work a 9-hour day, 5 days a week, at 9 times 5 is 45 hours. Maybe you work 5 hours on the weekend. That's 50-hour week. So a 50-hour week would kind of be an average work week. Are you working 60, 70, 80 hours a week maybe? Are you working only 20 hours a week? It's interesting to see. Okay, next question on page 9. Would you like to work fewer hours? Sean, how do we enter a one-on-one? At the end of the 8 weeks, Sean. Were you not listening earlier? Okay. Marita, I'm not sure what you mean by just COVID with a question mark. Would you like to work fewer hours? Yes or no? Ticket. If yes, do you have a plan to achieve that? How can you get from where you are now to working fewer hours? Do you have a plan? If you do have a plan to work fewer hours, describe your plan. Okay, next question. What do you enjoy most about your current agency? And then next question, what would you change at your current company, your current agency, if you could? So let's look at both sides. What do you enjoy most about where you are now? What would you change if you could? Okay, these are important questions for you to think through your career. Okay, how are we doing for time? We've got 7 minutes left. We've got 3 more pages here. Personal goals. This is the last of the 4 sections. Now, here's an interesting question. If you hit your business goals, I want to earn 1.5 million rand a year, okay? What would that mean for the rest of your life, for the other areas of your life? I want to hear from you. If you're going to do a one-on-one coaching session for me, I want to understand why you want to do this. What is it going to mean for your family life, for your personal life? What will the business success allow you to do or to be? Maybe, so what's your big why? Nobody just wants to make money for the sake of money unless you're Scrooge and you just want to sit on a pile of cash. Why do you want the money? Why do you want the success? Why do you want the freedom? What is it that drives you in life? You have to tap into that. Because if you're going to do, guys, I'm telling you now, if you're going to do what it takes to become a successful estate agent, you are going to need a big why. Something that overcomes all of your laziness, your desire not to work, and the emotional discomfort of getting on the phone. I'm going to come back to this. In fact, I want to show you a little thing here. That sheet right there is a description of this whole 8 weeks. And I'm going to read you there's a sentence in the middle, and then each of the words, I've got little like comments I've made on each of the words that are fleshed out into this curriculum. Here is the core principle of this entire 8 weeks. I'm going to read it. Are you ready? Whoever builds the best relationships with the most people wins. If you want to know how to become a successful as a estate agent, there it is right there. Whoever builds the best relationships with the most people wins. But there is a world of complexity and of emotional difficulty of getting on the phone. That's going to be the big one. That you will just procrastinate and delay and stutter your way through and get distracted, and you can't. If you're going to show the discipline that is required to succeed, guys, you are going to need a big why. That's why I'm asking these questions. And then once you've said, my big why is I want to travel the world, whatever. Why is that important to you? Just dig down a little further. Why? Go into your heart. Why is that important to you? And you know what? It's good to write these things down. You know, there's like stuff that happens psychologically when you commit something to paper, when you express something in language, in human language. And writing causes you to shape your language, to shape your sentence and your thoughts. It structures your thinking. It does something in your mind. Go and do this exercise. Don't shortchange yourself. Okay. Why is that important to you then? Next question. Can you achieve this without the business goals? That's often an interesting question. You know, when you've got down to your big why, do I really need the business success to achieve that? Yes or no? Are you on track to achieve all this? Do you feel like you're on track to achieve your dream? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, here's the question. What do you think needs to change? Right, we got 2 pages left, and then we'll be done. Do you have a disciplined exercise routine that you're happy with? You say, Stephen, don't ask that question. I just bought a treadmill. Okay. Do you have a disciplined exercise routine that you're happy with? Yes or no? Okay, next question, and I can tell you now this is my biggest weakness in all of my personal disciplines and business and life. And the next question is my biggest weakness. Do you get up at a consistent time each morning? I hang my head in shame. No, I don't. I would love to. It's one of my goals. And I wish I was like, those people who like bounce out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, full of energy, ready for the day. They've got a task list. They've got their plan. They know what they're doing. They're into it. Sure. Okay. So do you get up at a consistent time each morning? Do you feel like you enter each day with a clear plan? You wake up in the morning and you know what your plan is for the day. And it's planned, it's diarized. And you're doing some stuff that's immediate, you're doing other stuff that's planning for the future, the lead generation, the phone calls. It's all built into your day. You've got a plan. You need to wake up each morning knowing what your plan for the day is. Uhuru says, I feel like I'm being attacked. Guys, just give me, if I'm 1 or 2 minutes over from this first session. This was a very difficult session for me to plan, to get through this whole document anyway. I want to thank you for sticking with me. Next question is, do you have an active faith or religious life? And I think you need to have. As many of you know, I'm a man of faith. And my faith is so central to my life, and I think it needs to be for your life too. So yes or no, and then make any comments. Just like, honestly, how do you feel about your faith, about your spiritual life? Make a comment. Next question, do you have a satisfying family life? Yes or no? And if you tick no there, my friend, my heart goes out to you. My heart is with you. Maybe you're going through a traumatic divorce. Maybe you've got estranged relationships with your children. My mom has always said to me, you will only ever be as happy as your unhappiest child. And I tell you, as I've got nearly adult children now, and I can see the truth of what she said. So answer the question, do you have a satisfying family life, yes or no? And do you want to make any comments on your family life? Make it in the next thing. Then last page, please describe one defining event in your life. And this is so interesting. Which one springs to mind? And how would you describe it? So something that you feel has contributed most to who you are today. It can either be a positive thing or it can be a negative thing. There are a lot of people that say, I had massive trauma as a child. I was abused as a child, or I was raped, or my parents divorced when I was an early teenager. So there's sometimes massive traumas that you still feel like you walk with a limp because of them. Write it down, express it in language. Maybe it's something positive, a spiritual experience you had that defined the rest of your life. That would be mine. Dramatic spiritual experience on the 28th of June, 1998. That would be my defining experience. Okay, great exercise, guys. Please don't just close this document now and then get on with your life. Please complete it. Okay, so you've got 2 pieces of homework before the next session. That's in 2 weeks' time. But don't wait for the last minute. Go and do it today or tomorrow while it's still fresh in your mind. Okay, so you're going to complete the business analysis questionnaire, and then 2 things. Analyze your conversion rates. That's particularly of that first section. How many phone calls, how many listings, how many presentations, etc. Analyze your conversion rates and try to get a grip on how your business works. Then, based on that, I want you to set a monthly and an annual goal for each of the relevant questions in the questionnaire. You can't do that for all of the questions, obviously, but go through the whole questionnaire once you've finished it and you've analyzed your conversion rates. Go through the whole thing again and start setting goals for what you want to do per month and per year going forwards. Okay, if you manage to, and it's just discipline, to get through this whole exercise and do this homework, I'm telling you, you are setting yourself up for what we're going to do for the rest of the sessions. You are suddenly going to feel like you've got a grip on your business and you know where you're going. Please don't shortchange yourself. Go and do this. Okay, So any more slides? Yeah, we got a couple. Repeat this exercise twice per year. Okay, I think it's a wonderful exercise to do twice a year so that you can start getting clearer and clearer stats on your business. And then our next session is in 2 weeks' time, Wednesday, the 4th of August. What's the topic? Mindset, fundamental beliefs, getting a conceptual understanding of why people succeed in real estate. Okay, it's going to be an awesome session. If anybody missed today and you've got friends and colleagues that you know would love to carry on, no problem. What I'm going to do at the end of today's session, I'm going to email out the link to the replay. Okay, you can send anyone the link to the replay. I don't mind who sees it. And they can then join us again in 2 weeks' time. No problem if somebody jumps in on the next session. It's the same link. The same link you click to get into today. It's the same link every 2 weeks. And it's the same link for the Brent Gove session. Okay. Right, on the flock. Can we watch later? I'm just going to ignore that question. Thank you. Thank you. Lots of other thank yous I'm seeing. Many thanks. Okay, guys, God bless you. Have a wonderful 2 weeks. And I'll see you on Wednesday, the 4th of August. If you need me personally, just send me an email. I don't mind answering emails. I'm going to try to serve you the best I can over this 8-week period. Okay, so that's it from me. Bless you guys. See you in 2 weeks' time.